This is everything you need to know about update 46.0 in Bloons TD 6. The main feature of patch 46 in BTE 6 is the Tack Paragon. This thing is called the Crucible of Steel and Flame, and you can unlock it for 500,000 XP and has an in-game cost of 200,000. Now, besides the amazing name, the Crucible of Steel and Flame, this Paragon uses tacks and maelstroms in order to do the damage, and it also comes with two abilities. Now, the first ability serves as a range extender to all of these attacks, so once you use it, as you guys can see, the range of all of these side attacks becomes a lot bigger, and then it also starts attacking with these blue jets of flame around it, which is really cool. Another cool thing about this ability is that it also has about 80-ish% uptime, so you can pretty much spam this in your games, and it's gonna be attacking well mostly like this. Now, that ability serves as cleanup, so if you want to do some single target damage, you need to use the meteor ability, which by the way looks awesome. It looks like this. That is probably one of the best animations that I've seen, and it also spawns 32 fireballs, which eventually seek out balloons, which adds a lot more damage to the ability as well. Now, I'm gonna be extensively testing this Paragon, so we're gonna be doing individual videos on the Paragon itself, plus we're gonna be testing it at a boss event, so if you guys have not subscribed, now is a good time to do so. In addition to the Paragon, we have a brand new map called Last Resort. This is an advanced map, and this is actually kind of tricky. Now, the map looks identical as Resort, but it has a couple of catches. So first off, the best spots in the map are blocked, and then the balloons don't exactly always make the turn. They sometimes make the first turn, they sometimes take the second turn, they sometimes take the third turn, but sometimes they just continue straight, which just adds to the trickiness of this map. There's also a removable obstacle, which you can click here in the water. You can remove it for $1,000, and then you're gonna have a water space freed up, which I have a feeling is gonna come in very handy when we're gonna try and black border this map. Now, on top of this, we have 3 new quests. The first one is called Alternate Chimpoppable, which is impoppable prices, chimps rules, and then played on alternate balloon rounds, which sounds absolutely amazing, and I actually cannot wait to try this one out. The second one is a hero quest called Adora Explorer, which is essentially some sort of a tutorial, mini tutorial for Adora. And then the third one is called By the Power of Balcat, which is a new addition to BTE 6 in our power section, which is going to award you with 3 Balcat powers. Now, if you want to get your hands onto the Balcats, you have 2 options. The first one is called the Balcat Prestige Pack, which offers 30 Balcat powers, exclusive avatar, and a banner for your profile, and then 3 tier 5 beast handler insta monkeys. Or if you just are not interested in those insta monkeys and the other stuff, you can just buy yourself a Balcat booster pack, which just contains 30 Balcat powers, and they threw in a couple of tier 3 insta monkeys as well. There's also a brand new heroes and skins pack, which I just wanted to mention. It contains 41 heroes and skins, and I actually don't think this is that good of a deal if you have like half of the heroes or skins unlocked. But if you only have a handful of these guys and you don't want to go through manually unlocking them, I think that this might be the option for you. And of course, if you guys are planning to buy anything in the Bloons store, please don't forget to use my code ETHANREAD in the Bloons store. It really helps out the channel a lot. Now, let's move on to the balance changes. We're starting off with the bomb, where its base pierce got increased from 14 to 22, and then the 100 and the 200 also got some interesting pierce increases. Now, I think that the changes are more interesting with the bottom crossband, actually, where the recursive clusters, the cluster distance now got reduced by a little bit. So let me actually show you guys what this means. So essentially, when you would get the cluster proc, all of these side explosions would just spread out throughout, and now those explosions are a little bit more contained with these new changes. And then for some reason, the bomb blitz again getting more buffs, with its attack cooldown being reduced from 1 to 0.75. So this bomb blitz is actually turning out to be a really interesting tower for the price. A change that I wanted to highlight from the tax is the fact that the tax prayer's pierce got increased from 1 to 2. Now, the overdrive also has a pierce of 2, but just having this pierce getting moved to the tack means that, well, it can now do this. That was an entire round of green balloons, and this thing just took it out by itself, and I think that this is going to be really important, especially for the early game. This is a very small but actually cool change, where the 024 auto rifle got its shrapnel damage increased from 1 to 2, and so essentially what it means is that the first target is going to be taking the same exact damage, but the targets behind it are actually going to be taking more damage thanks to the shrapnels. Now, if I remember correctly, you can actually buff the shrapnels by using Alchemist, and this change also carries to the Elite Defender as well. So yeah, the 025 getting a small bit of buff, I guess, in this latest update. Now, in order for me to showcase this next change, I'm gonna need a lot of water space. So you guys know that the Navark inherits the Trade Empire buff, which essentially means that the more merchantmen that you have on screen, the greater the buff to the cash production is gonna be. Previously, this limit used to be 20 merchantmen, so this was the max amount of merchantmen that you can have on screen in order for you to get the max bonus. But now with these new changes, the maximum amount is going to be 40. So yes, you can actually have 40 merchantmen, and all these guys are going to keep buffing each other. They're going to make a lot more money, but the cash per merchantman is getting reduced from 15 to 10. So overall, this turns out to be a buff, and yes, you're going to need a lot of water space if you want to make this thing work. A tower that's been getting a little bit more interesting recently is the laser cannon. In the previous update, this tower got +2 mob damage, and now it's getting its price cut from 3.6 to $3,000. $10. Now this price reduction has been added back into the plasma accelerator, which is a little bit more expensive, but talking about the laser cannon as itself, it is becoming a really decent tower. Some interesting changes happening to the MAD and the 4th tier Rocket Storm abilities, where the Rocket Storm ability now gets +1 damage to ceramics, so the cleanup is going to be a little bit better, and then the MAD ability is getting a lot more damage to Moab class balloons, but its main attack is going to do a little bit less to Moab, so I guess it kind of balances out at the end. The Archmage is getting a lot of extra bonus damage versus Moab class balloons, so check this out. The Firebolt goes from 9 to 27, the Wall of Fire goes from 1 to 4, and then the Dragon's Breath damage to Moab class balloons goes from 2 to 6, so this thing should be melting Moab class balloons, especially in the ultra late game, but the wizard buffs don't end there. As you guys probably know, the Prince of Darkness actually has this buff to other necromancers, which essentially improves the damage of these zombie balloons, and that bonus used to be 1 and now goes to 3, which is a small change, but I don't know, it might be impactful long run. And then the Wizard Paragon's Metamorphosis mana drain got reduced from 5,000 to 4,000, essentially increasing the duration of this. So the duration of the Metamorphosis wasn't the best, and Ninja Kiwi is starting to address that. There's yet another Paragon change, and this time it's the Ninja Paragon, where it gives extra range now to all of the ninjas, and if you guys are noticing something, it also gives the Shinobi Tactics buff to all of the ninjas as well. Now the Ninja Paragon gives camo detection to all other Paragons, and this is actually really important because the new Tack Paragon doesn't actually have camo detection, and as you guys can see right here, it actually does get camo detection, which is going to be an important combo, I think, going forward. The Mermonkey is getting a small bit of a nerf or a buff depending on which Mermonkey you are. So for example, the Arctic Knight now can pass over white balloons unless it can damage them. So what this means is that in the previous update they gave it an immunity to white balloons, or actually I should say weakness, and what would happen is that whenever these projectiles would collide with any white balloons or zebras, they would just disappear. So now they're just going to pass through them, which is essentially a huge damage boost, I guess, for the Mermonkey. But at the same time, the Alluring Melody and the Symphonic Resonance's trans balloon cooldown got increased from 3 to 4, so a little bit of a nerf there. You guys are not going to believe this, but the primary expertise, the meme tower, is actually getting a lot stronger. So this thing's bonus damage to ceramics and Moabs got increased from 190 to 270, but also its attack cooldown got increased from 2.5 to 3 seconds, which overall, I know that the attack's a little bit slower, but this actually turns out to be a buff. Now this engine change is one of the most interesting ones, and it's the Big Trap's price getting reduced from 48 to 45,000, so that's a little bit of a nice buff right there. But also the cash multiplier is getting increased from 2 to 3, and so what this essentially means is that all these balloons trapped inside are now going to give a lot more cash than they used to. Now I'm going to be honest, I don't exactly use the Beast Handler that much, but I have to mention these changes. The Megalodon now has his damage increase from 350 to 700. That is quite literally double the damage, and also apparently its damage range got increased from 400 to 1.4k, so this thing is just absolutely insane, it looks like, and I cannot wait to try this out in a game actually. Now I'm gonna be honest, this next change might be really impactful for Azili. So she's one of the slower leveling heroes, and you would never get to level 8 before the first Moab around 40. Now this is really important because the previous level 8 used to be this one, and now it's level 6, which is the fact that she does more damage to Moab class balloons. So now because this has been switched to level 6 instead of level 8, this means that she's gonna be a lot more viable, especially versus the early Moab, and it's just gonna be helpful overall. Also, can we please have an update in which we're not nerfing Geraldo? So the Creepy Idol's price got increased from 100 to 120, the Jar of Pickles' price got increased from 100 to 150, the Tube of Glue is now more expensive, used to be 100, now is 150, the Cherry's Fire, it used to be 600, is now 650, the Pet Bunny used to be 1.5 and now it's 2,000, and then this thing, the Genie, used to be 2,000 and now it's 2,500. I mean, why do you guys hate Geraldo so much? And finally, we're gonna end with powers changes. Yep, they actually did some rebalancing of the powers. So the Moab Mine's damage got increased from 300 to 5,000. Now this Moab Mine is absolutely insane, and don't ask me why I have 9,000 of these guys, by the way. The Super Monkey Storm's damage got literally doubled, went from 2,000 to 4,000. The Time Stomp no longer slows your towers as much, so it used to be 70% and now it is 40%, so that's nice. And then the Energizer Totem's radius got increased from 40 to 54, so yeah, this thing is gonna be getting a lot more towers inside of its radius. And also the Camo Trap and the Glue Trap now have 2 charges when you purchase it instead of 1, so that's really nice. Alright, so those were the major changes in this update. As usual, don't forget to use code EatAndRead in the Bloons store, and be sure to subscribe to the channel because I'm gonna be making videos on every single one of these changes, plus some that I've missed, so make sure to catch those. Thanks for watching this video, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one.